on the stage. Emrys Smith! Emrys Smith, everybody! Oh. Hello. I gotta adjust this thing. Yeah, that's my speed. How you doing? Hey. Is that funny? That's a Friends reference. The taste you guys have. No, really, you're beautiful. Have I told you lately how beautiful you are? Beautiful audience. I can't see you actually because of the lights, so I'm just telling you that. I'm feeling a little down, a little run down. I just flew in from Chicago. God damn, are my jokes tired. So, I had an interesting experience recently. I was texting with a woman. It's unusual for me. We were texting and things got a little hot and heavy, you know. It was almost sexting. We sexted. Try saying that. Sexed. It's awesome. No, and she was like, send me a picture. I'm like, yeah, you know, all right. So I snap. I'm like, don't look at my hairline. And she's like, oh, you're adorable. I meant send me a picture. I'm like, oh my. She wants to see the print. I was like, really? Really? That person exists? Like, I know the dick pic happens, like the politicians are sending them, you know, the sports people are sending them. But does anyone want to actually receive the dick pic? Apparently they do, and I think, like, I don't think there's anything less erotic than the dick pic where, you know, it's all poorly lit and shadowed and kind of posed. You know? And I think looking surprised. Like when you're walking around your house and your aunt is there and she's like, hey, I'm taking a picture, and you're like, that's the dick pic. This is the erection part. And it's got like the pubic hair all around. You know, what's erotic about that? I couldn't figure it out. But I'm accommodating, so I sent it to her. I was like, and then she sent me a picture of her tits, and it all made sense. I was out in Chicago for an orgy. This is before I met this woman. Actually, yeah. And it's sexier if I had an orgy and they meet women, right? That makes me more alluring. Yeah. People think orgies are great, but really they're kind of bullshit. There's always, when you're inviting people to your orgy, you know, you want as many people to come as possible. Just nodding here. And there's always one guy who, like, is non-committal, you know, and he's got other plans. He's like, yeah, you know, I'm working late that night, and I was planning on fucking somebody else in the evening, you know, but I'll try to swing by. Then when you're at the orgy, there's almost never a vegetarian option there. That's why when I go, I like to bring a veggie tray. I just think it's considerate. It's always a problem when you're waiting for drinks. You know, when you're in line behind a bunch of people fucking, and then you get to the keg and there's just foam left. And there's always a boring guy who just wants to do missionary. Those are actually jokes about regular parties. Those are problems that real parties have, and I applied them to an orgy for comedy. actually, I wasn't in Chicago for an orgy. Well, it was an orgy of consumption. We ate at White Castle. Right on. You've had diarrhea. There aren't any White Castles in Pennsylvania. There's one, I think. People keep correcting me on that. There's no White Castles in Pennsylvania. So you're probably familiar with it from the movie, you know, Shawshank Redemption. That movie is not about White Castle, but it does have a bunch of white men in a prison. I thought it was applicable. White Castle is the only restaurant where you're applauded for buying more sandwiches than you have hands. The cashiers in Chicago at White Castle are behind bulletproof glass because when a motherfucker wants diarrhea, he wants it now. White Castle serves sliders, exclusively sliders, which are just these sandwiches that are made in layers on these giant trays. I think they just run them conveyor style through an oven and like cut them off. You can order 4 or 8 or 20 or a whole bag of like 40 of them at a time. That's literally all they sell at White Castle, but they're constantly messing up my order. And I find that infuriating because I hate fast food restaurants. A fast food restaurant is a place where you go when you're hungry and you want your body to shut the fuck up. We're adults. If we have $5 to spend on food, we know we should just buy a bag of broccoli or something. So the only reason to go to a fast food restaurant is if you literally just can't stand it anymore. And people think, I hate being in a fast food restaurant, so I hate running into people there. The more time I'm there, the more chance there is that I'm going to run into somebody I know. And I think that's way more uncomfortable than running into a coworker elsewhere. Like, people think the most uncomfortable place would be a porn shop, right? You know, because of the sex stuff. For those of you who don't discuss your sex stuff life with your coworkers, I think running into them in a porn shop would be uncomfortable. I had this experience one time. I was there to pick up my box set of Locked Up Lesbians, volumes 1 through 24. It's popular amongst this crowd. We've all seen at least the first 3. And I was there with my box set, which comes in a handsome leather exterior. And this dude from work was there with some videotapes. And I happened to glance at his videotapes because, I mean, I'm going to look. And they were about rosebudding. Now, how many people here know what rosebudding is?
Yeah, you tell.
You sick fucks! Okay, I'm going to tell you. Rosebudding is a serious medical condition where you cause yourself to have a rectal prolapse, which is when the interior part of the anus hole protrudes out into the world and looks like a little pink rosebud. And people pour honey on it, it apparently tastes like pennies. It's a big porn thing involving the butt. And so I was taken aback. I was like, wow, this guy's into some pretty weird shit. And I didn't say anything though. I played it cool because, like, who am I to judge this guy's, you know, masturbation habits, okay? I'm into Locked Up Lesbians, he's into some rosebudding, it's okay. But later on, I was at McDonald's. And what I like to order at McDonald's is the double cheeseburger with the McChicken. You peel the bun off the McChicken and you stack the 2 sandwiches together. I call it a double meat medley. That's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reference. And then you eat it and it's delicious. It tastes really weird, but it's good. And this guy, this same guy from the porn shop sits down and we're like chatting and he sees what I'm eating and he goes, dude, that is disgusting. The rosebudding guy. So that's why I don't like spending time in fast food restaurants. Thank you, I'm Emrys Smith.
Emrys Smith, everyone!